Hello and welcome to part 3 of the P-40 tutorial series. Now this is going to be a little bit different. Originally what I was going to do was have a video that part 3 would be taking off, climbing and doing some bits and pieces in the air. But then I thought, okay, so the P-40 is an aircraft that I personally find most challenging to land. Out of all the A2A warbirds, it's the most challenging to land for me. So I thought, rather than me fake a perfect landing in the final video, why don't we take part 3 and just do circuits and bumps? That's all we're going to do. This is almost the equivalent of when you're at school and the teacher wheels in the old video trolley, and instead of having a lesson you get to watch TV. I guess that you have to be of a certain age to appreciate that. I don't know what they do now. Maybe they pipe it through to laptops or iPads or something, but anyway, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. So the purpose of this video really is I will do a takeoff and I will talk about that, and then we're just going to do circuits and bumps, and as we go I think you'll probably get more out of it than me faking a good landing, because you'll see me making mistakes, and there will be mistakes. This is a very honest video. This is very much a case of, look, these are the challenges I have. This is what happens when I try and do it. And you can probably kind of pick up from there, because it's a very different aircraft to the other ones. I can land the Harvard, the Mustang, the Spitfire, you know, pretty well, I'd like to think, without any real problems. The P-40 for me is a very different animal, and it's a slightly different skill. So I think this will probably be more interesting for you to see how the aircraft behaves, what can potentially go wrong, because things will go wrong, and you'll get more out of it than, you know, as I say, just me faking a perfect landing. So hope this is useful. Let's go.
So just very quickly before we start, something I really should have covered in one of the initial videos is when I talked about mapping the button on the electric hydraulic switch to a controller. This is what I use. This is the configurator that actually comes with the A2A aircraft, and it allows you to set commands to different controllers' buttons to make life a bit easier. Because I use FSUIPC, I have to do it slightly differently because I have controllers disabled in P3D because it's going through FSUIPC. So I have to use I have to set FSUIPC to do a key switch, in this case V, for my hydraulic pump, and then that's how that works. But very useful feature, and thank you to Rob at the A2A community for pointing out that is definitely something worth talking about. Okay, so here we are at the runway threshold. We're about to take to the skies to do our circuit and bumps, so let's start with the checklist. First of all, we have our canopy open. We've had that open for taxiing. We've got our lights on down here. We've got our running lights. At this point I'm going to put the landing light on, and I'm actually going to, if I can get the mouse to line up, and I'm actually going to leave it on the whole time because we're going to be flying in the circuit, so I'm not going to be switching that off. Our attitude indicator is uncaged over here. We're going to check our Presto warning light. Yep, that's on, just in case we have any issues overheating, which of course we're not going to have. Our mixture is set to auto rich, which is where we want it, and our prop is fully forward. Let's have a quick look at our T's and P's. Everything is good there. Coolant temperature getting a little bit warm because I'm waffling on here, but otherwise looking okay. Right, let me bring up the checklist in. I'm just looking at the manual checklist, so let's have a quick look at the checklist on the pop-up and make sure that we've got everything. Check flying controls. Oh, didn't mean to press that one. Come back. There we go. So yeah, full and free movement, everything is good there. We've looked at our trim, which is set in neutral. I must admit, sometimes habit from the Spit, I'm not doing it here because we're doing it by the book, sometimes put that around about 1.5. I don't know if it makes much difference or whether it's just an old hangover that I've got from the Spit, but there you go. Prop lever is fully forward, we've done that. Flaps are up, and we can see that from our indicator, and the radiator flaps are fully open. But what we're going to do here for the takeoff is we're going to just close closed a little bit. Okay, let's line up. Quick check over there, that's good. Let's line up, check that nothing's coming. So on the takeoff roll we're looking for 41 inches on the manifold pressure maximum, and otherwise we're just dancing on the pedals and making sure that we don't do anything silly. Okay, now there we go, let's come to a halt on the numbers. Quick look down here. I'm just going to quickly check the carburetor heat because that, yeah, I thought so, that was on. Should of course be off for this point. You'd have picked that up in an earlier check, by the way. It's just because I've jumped in at this point to do this video. Okay, everything's looking good, so I'm going to pull back on the stick and let's add some power. Release the brakes. Start dancing on the rudder pedals. Slowly ease the stick forward, adding some more power. Nose starts to come down. Check the power going a bit. There we go, 41 there. Watching the speed rotate. Slow gear is up and turn the pump on. Reduce the RPM. Checking there, yep, that's good. And let's bring around, and at this point we will close the canopy. We don't really want to bust 1,000 feet. There's Duffer's Castle for anyone that knows the area. I'm just easing things off here. Just gone over 1,000 a little bit. There's Lossie. Let's bring around. Lose a bit of speed there. Okay. Let's lose some height again. Come back on the power a little bit. Speed is quite high. At this point I'm going to open up the prop all the way, fully forward. We'll start the turn, and in the turn hold the nose up, power back, and we'll bleed off some speed. Right, okay, coming down to 150, let's get that gear lever down and pump. Hold the nose up. Now we quickly go over to the manual and just give it a few shakes. You can hear how that is, there we go, that's nice and tight there. That's the thing. Okay. Speed coming down, we're below 140 so we can start dropping some flap. Tend to find the flap, if you're not quick, comes down all the way like it has done there. So here we go, gear down, flap down, coming in. Now you can see already how fast it's dropping, so we put some power on. already feels too low for this aircraft, even though we can see there from the runway that actually we are high. For this aircraft this feels a little low, so we're coming in at 100. That's really where we want to be at this point. Doing a nice curved approach because of this huge great nose in front of us, and should have done this earlier, but we'll do it now. Let's have some carb heat on. There we go. And as a result of that faffing about, we're already quite a long way off, but that's okay, we've got a long runway. Powering down, keeping the speed on. There we go, not too bad. A bit left of centre line. Who am I kidding? That's a lot left of centre line. Power back on. Let's take the carb heat off. Watch that power doesn't get too much. Rotate. Gear up. Back on the power a bit. The RPM. Gear up, let's go for flaps. Now that we've got some speed, nice and gently so we don't shock it. And let's climb away. There's a lot to do in this aircraft, there's a lot to do. Of course we should have had our canopy open as well. Something also I should have shown is we need to make sure that, you see the gear, we've got these three positions, so that should always be in the neutral position. Once you've used it, that should be in the neutral position. That's something I should have shown really. Sorry, track IR playing up a bit, let's just reset that. Okay. So once again, start losing some power, we need to lose some height. Let's see if we can't just set this up a little bit earlier. Keep the height coming down. Try to lose some speed in the same time, which is a bit tricky. So 160 is the magic number for gear. There we have it. Let's gear lever all the way down. Get the old pump going. Look at the indicator. So our right is coming down before our left. Get some power on. Let's do our lever. So now I've got the stick in the left hand and using the mouse on the pump there. There we go, that's good. Get some power on. Let's get the flap down. Goes the flap, and let's get the carb heat on. Here we go. So there's 100 miles an hour, which is our magic number. Let's not lose too much height. We've extended out further than we should be. If we were in a typhoon, then we'd be over there, out over the sea coming in. We're not in a typhoon. We are in a lovely P-40, so we can be a little bit closer doing our warbird approach. Now you see how that nose just sticks in the air there, so we are maintaining altitude here pretty much. Nose stuck in the air, just over 26 inches manifold pressure and maintaining 100 miles an hour. Our flaps down, everything's looking good, no problems. Okay, let's start doing a bit of a descent now. I actually find with the P-40 it doesn't hurt to come in with a bit of extra height. Watching that speed. Not chopping the power. Commence our turn, possibly left that a little bit late. Yeah, we left that too late. Power back on, straighten up. Coming in. There we go. That wasn't a three-pointer. That was a main carriage landing. Power back on. Let's rotate. Gear up. Exceed the flap speed, so we're keeping it not too bad. Right, gear is up. Let's get our flaps up now. Flaps are up. Be careful with the power. Let's have a quick look at our T's and P's. Everything's good. Let's put our landing gear into neutral. Let's put our flap into neutral. Check the altitude. Let's bring our RPM and our power back a little bit. We're not in a race. So you can see there is a lot to do in this aircraft. A lot to do. Okay, let's start bringing the speed back a little bit earlier on this one. So speed back. Lose a bit of height. See if we can't drop the gear a bit earlier. And straight away I can see there I left the carb heat on. So that's another thing to remember. Should really be taking that off on the takeoff roll, pretty smartish. Let's just bring that back, don't want to go too far out again. Okay, let's pop the gear down. Commence a turn, we're going to try and make this one a bit tighter. Start the descent. Let's get on the manual pump. There we go, let's get some power quick. Flap. Flap is down. You tend to find you don't need to use the hydraulics for the flap when you want them down, it just drops. It's really when you're putting it up. Right, let's have a look at speed. So we've got the 100 miles an hour, the magic figure. RPM should be fully fine. We've left our carb heat on. We're sinking quite a lot. A bit more power to maintain that 100. Let's not fall so much. Quite high. Nice view of the runway. 100 miles an hour. Come down and let's chop. And that's a main wheel landing again. Okay, let's put the power back on. Let's remember the carb heat. I need to set up a button for this for sure. Power back a bit there. Rotate, gear up. Let's come back a little bit now. Throttle first, then prop. Check everything's looking good, good. Flap up. Boom. Flap comes up nice and quickly there. This is the kind of thing that certainly with any aircraft, but I would definitely say with A2A, it's a good idea to just... Ooh! Now this is interesting, we learn on the go. There you go. So, what happened there? We took off on the reserve tank, as you meant to. What I wasn't keeping an eye on was how much fuel we were burning on the reserve tank, and we have been burning up quite a bit doing these circuits, and the reserve tank just ran dry. So what I should have done really is some time ago switch to the fuselage tank, which is where I haven't got anything in the wing tanks for this. So let's slow up. I did tell you this one was going to be a little bit more relaxed. I'd actually be in serious trouble if I'd done that in real life. You never let a tank run dry. Okay, let's get the gear down. Again, I've forgotten that one to put it in the neutral position. We're way too high. Concentration's gone because I'm still thinking about the tank running dry. Let's get back into the picture. Throttle back, lose some height, let's not build up too much speed. We've got good gear indication. Wobble the bump, yep, that's nice. What's our speed? What's our height? Let's not get too far. Watch the speed come back now. Good for flap. Flap down. Bosh. Power, power, power. So this is what we're talking about with the power assisted approach. Let's get the carb heat on. There we go, 100 miles an hour is the magic figure. Miles an hour, still using the power. Quite a bit over again there. So let's get the power back on. Carb heat out. Power on to 41. Rotate, gear up, hydraulic pump on, go go go. Gear up, flap up. So what we'll do this time is we'll go out a little bit further. and do more of a straight-in approach and see what that looks like. Make sure we get everything in our neutral positions. Thank you. Hopefully this is what makes this more useful to you, because you're seeing me forget to do things that hopefully you will then remember. So this isn't so much a tutorial by someone who is an expert, because I'd never say I'm an expert. This is more a tutorial in terms of you watching someone trying to do it and remembering the things that they're meant to do. That makes it a bit different, right? Okay, so we'll take her out a bit further. But what I will start to do now is lose some speed. So we're going to throttle back, start off with a prop to fully fine. Watch our heights are a little bit high, and let's just get some speed off now. Flying over the sea like this is always interesting, because you, to a certain extent, lose your sense of, or lose your sense of awareness with the ground. So we're just looking at the instruments now, just to have a quick look back. Don't go out too far. We're not going to go trawling in the Murray Firth. Okay, watching our instruments, sinking a little bit. Right, ready for gear, down all the way, pump on. Watch that nose, don't let the nose come down too much. Quick look back. I guess this is more your conventional, although we have gone out quite a bit. How's that looking? Okay, check, check. Gear please. Go, right's come down first. Feels different when one wheel comes down before the other. You do feel it in the aircraft. Probably doesn't really come across in the sim, but there you go. Okay, check the old wobble. That's good. Okay, flap. So we are now in a nice configuration. We're dangling the Dunlops, we've got the carb heat on, we've got everything dangling that should be dangling. Let's get our 100 miles an hour. Don't need to be sinking anymore. Pow, pow, pow. Correcting. Now, I will do. Do you know what I will do? We're too low as it is. If I bring the nose around, there you go. Can't see a thing. So for a long approach, straight in approach like this, what you really need to do, and we're going to do it now, let's get some height. There we go, is get a bit higher than you normally would. Gone a bit overboard there, but just have some visibility of the runway. Slight crosswind there. 100 miles an hour is the magic number. Nice visibility of the runway. Check our aiming point. Slightly to the right of centre line. Let's try and correct that. 100 miles an hour maintaining. And flare, 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 and chop. Yeah, not great. Seen worse. Power back on. Okay, let's do one final one. Let's get the carb heat. Definitely need a button for that, it's very difficult. Trying to get the carb heat done, faffing about when you're trying to do a touch and go. Let's come back on the power and everything. Drifting a little bit. I think the wind's possibly picked up a little bit in the sim. Okay, let's have the flap now please. There we go. Come back on power and let's come round. So we'll do one more. Gear neutral position, flap neutral position. Quick look at T's and P's, pretty good. Let's try and keep it slow, 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 slow. Use this turn to bleed off some speed. See if we can't make this one the best one. That was the kiss of death, wasn't it? Okay, let me just reset the track IR because it's gone a bit funny. There we go. Keep an eye on the threshold. Ideally at this point I'd want to be dropping the gear, by the way, not leaving it quite so late. If you were coming in joining, for example, joining downwind for the runway round about now, possibly a bit early, you'd want to be dropping the gear. So let's keep the nose where it should be. Try not to let it drop. Be ready to come on the power. Let's keep that going. There we go. So now we switch over to the wobble pump. Give that some wobble. That's a technical term. There we go. And let's start introducing some flap as we turn in. Flap is fully down. Let's go. 100 miles an hour is the magic figure. Watch it, watch it, watch it. Let's have the carb heat on. Let's check our gear. Okay, flaps in the neutral position, or is it? There we go. Whoa! Let's get that gear in neutral position now. If you saw the earlier video, you remember I was talking about that awareness of where levers are, and if we put on the shift 1 menu there, okay, that's not going to work because I haven't got it selected. Oh, there we go, shift 1 menu's come up now. You can kind of see that gives you a much better idea of where everything is. Trying to look around the cockpit and track IR and check lever positions when you're doing a curved approach like that is silliness and is going to end in hurt. There we go. That's a bit of a bouncer. So there you go. So we will do a landing in the final video, but I just wanted to do that. I thought it might be quite useful. You've definitely seen some mistakes there. You've definitely seen the things that need to be remembered, and hopefully found that useful. So I will see you for part 4 coming soon. Thanks for watching.